Busy, but not horribly busy. Needs to get his marijuana. But I got to get my marijuana. We got some spirits they're selling there. That I thought that was a school. Or that joke. We have Teen Spirit. Definitely a bit of a hill climb here. So when I am out here on the road for a really, really long duration, I have little cans of coffee, and I keep food, a little bit of food. But this definitely calls for a can of coffee. Gonna be on the road for a while. That's the cold and hot water tanks. Well, I saw the cold tank. I'm assuming that the other one was a hot water tank, right? Very pretty. Nice little drive, actually. I'm really enjoying this drive. Getting a little bit tired of driving, but that's really kind of premature. I need to wait for about another 180 miles or so. I don't think I'm actually that far away yet, or at this point. That looks like a chicken. A lot of rocks. Finally, we're getting up here. Yeah. I'm going to punch the magnification in just a little bit. Now that we're finally getting up here into the area that I really want to see. I'm really surprised there's so many houses up here. I mean, this is kind of out of the way, but maybe that's the reason there are. I think the lighting's going to be pretty good here too. We might be in the sun a little bit, but I think we're mainly going to be lit from the side. So we'll see what it looks like. You know, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with photography, and I had a 127. I have no idea what those numbers mean. Some sort of dimension of some kind, or measure, whatever. Had a little camera that took that type of film, and I eventually got an Olympus, a nice Olympus camera. Got stolen from me. I know who did it. What I really loved, though, was I loved taking black and white photos with my little 127 camera that Mom and Dad got me. And they also got me a little basic dark room. Very basic, no enlarger or anything, but I had everything that I needed to develop film. And I did, and it was I love that. I still think that is so cool. Of course, I have Photoshop, and I do a lot of work in Photoshop. A little bit, you know, for this channel. Sometimes I'll do graphic stuff, mainly for Old Town. That's a nice view. Maybe you can see that, maybe not. But I really enjoyed photography as a kid, and I like analog photography. I liked using the chemicals and, you know, the lighting. I mean, it was just very cool. The whole thing was really neat. I don't mind the computer version, you know, playing around on a computer and fixing photos in the computer and drawing on a computer. And I have done quite a bit of sketching in Photoshop. Not really all that artistic. I guess in a way it's artistic for patent drawings, but basically that would be that's what I can draw. I can draw machinery. And so, you know, and I mean, I can draw things that are sort of fluid, but I did find that using Photoshop for my sketching, for all the patent work that I've done, was great. It just really made it, you know, I got into the flow. I understood the tools pretty well that I needed, and all the other little odds and ends with Photoshop, and I could get a lot done, and it was nice work too. I don't have any patents right now, but I've written like 5 or 6 patents. Not all for me. I've written one for another person, and then the rest of the patents were provisional patents. But I also did the paperwork. I did the whole, you know, I did a large amount of the paperwork in case I wanted to turn it into a utility patent. I decided not to. I realized that patents are rich people's game, and it's better to just build something and sell it than it is to patent it and try to go that route. I also learned it's better to figure out how to make and build and sell whatever gadget you like on the budget that you have available, and don't try to get investment unless you're a good salesman. But if you're a good salesman, you're probably not drawing patents. You probably sold someone else. They're doing that for you. I was never a good salesman, and I was never comfortable about taking money from friends and family. I did try, you know, I came up with a pitch, and I pitched my friends and, you know, extended family, whatever. Nobody nobody bid, and I'm glad that they didn't. But I went through the annoyance of doing, I think it was like called a 501 public offering. I don't really remember for sure, but I went through that. I wrote that. That was a big deal. It's basically it's still a business plan, and business plans are incredibly ridiculous, but it's a business plan with a lot more garnish everywhere, right? The idea is that you're going to pitch a plan to only savvy investors, and therefore they need to have a more in-depth understanding of your business and your product and whatever, how you're going to implement it. And really what I learned when I did all that stuff was business plans are stupid. Other than taking a napkin and writing a couple points on a napkin. That's probably the best business plans that you'll ever see, because they're simple, they're basic. There's no, you cut through all the lies and the BS of a business plan, because a business plan is just somebody's version of reality, but it's not real, it's fantasy. And I can guarantee you that 99% of the business plans are always going to just be fantasy. They're not going to become real. And after I wasted time going to college so that I could learn how to build a particular product, which I should have just built, then I wasted time looking to get money from other people with the friends and family, the small business administration route, which is a bunch of garbage. It's not untrue though. I mean, if you can talk your friends and your family into giving you money for your project, but do you really have the constitution to do that? Because a good chance your business is going to fail, and your family and your friends are left holding the bag for your failure. Do you really, really want that? I didn't want that. Beautiful view from up here. I wish I'm going to back this out again. If we get into the right curves, you might be able to see across the valley, back down over the top of Delta and Montrose and Olathe, and looking out into the San Juans. Quite a view. Or you may just have to come up here and drive this road. Anyway, when I finally figured out to quit bugging other people about your what you want to do, just do it. There's nowadays a woke shoe commercial that was really popular, the phrase "just do it," and it does make sense. Just do it. And not only that, figure out how to do it on your budget. If you can't do it on your budget, do something else. That way you don't lose other people's money. And you can sleep at night. When your business fails, but your business failed, but your family still loves you, and your friends still love you, because you didn't take all of their money and waste it on your stupid plan. I'll bet that's broken up a lot of families too. Probably created a lot of, what people would call black sheep. I'd like to do something right here. Oh, I can't really do it. Wanted to turn the car sideways, but I just didn't have enough room to do it without. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this here. So, yeah, we'll just do a little shot around here. So look at that. That's pretty cool. Let me, do that. Just kind of swing around here. Now we were just over there. That's Paonia. those hills over to the left. But we just looked at the big valley here. So we'll go ahead and, yeah, we'll go ahead and head on out. The views off of this mountain are spectacular because we're looking over a desert, or well, not really a desert, but a drier area, a low area, a valley, two river valleys really, the Uncompahgre. No, actually there are more rivers down there. Anyway, it's just an amazing view. It is so worth coming on this road. And for anybody that watches my videos, I know there are a couple guys in England that were watching them. I hope I didn't offend them when I was talking about my English brother-in-law, who wasn't a very good guy. Yeah, probably not that bad of a guy, but I guess we all make mistakes. Anyway, anybody that watches my videos from another country, if you find yourself in Colorado for some reason, I would recommend renting a car and driving these roads, driving the back roads. Ski resorts are okay, but you have ski resorts in Europe, they're not really special. And they're the same people, really, when you go to a ski town, whether it's Europe or whether it's in the States. They're the same people. It's the same feel. It's probably owned by the same company. So I would recommend renting a car and, taking notes off my videos, taking notes off of other people's videos, if they, people that do this, and go look at these roads. You've already had an idea of what they might look like. Some roads around here that you've seen me film will blow you away. They're so cool when you see them in real life. Other roads, maybe not so much. I'm just showing you the local country. Yeah, this is really, really nice. That's a pretty good. Oh, it's a reservoir. Okay. And the air is really nice and crisp. There are just things that you can't get out of the video. And I don't know how my narration skills are. I don't know if I inspire or annoy. Annoyingly inspire. So I could turn my, oh yeah, it's about 20 or 30 degrees cooler up here. I turn my air conditioning off. One of the cool things about Grand Mesa is you do go back a season or two. When we get up on top, we'll still be basically in winter. Late winter, but winter. Pretty streams. This is one of those areas, another one of those areas I would like to live, up on top. Just to be able to explore this gigantic mesa. I mean, it would take a lifetime to really explore it. I don't really have a lifetime left, but I'd still do what I could. visitor center, huh? Interesting. Another big lake. Another lake. There are a lot of lakes up here. They're calling those lakes, so those, they're not man-made. If they're calling them a lake, I would assume that that's why they didn't call them a reservoir. If I find another cool turnout, I'll certainly take advantage of it. They've got a lot of wide spots on the road, but I think that's for skiers and snowmobilers. Yeah, the last time I was on this highway, I think it was it could have been 2015 or 2016. My parents were moving to Oklahoma, and or maybe they had moved to Oklahoma, and I drove down to help out. No, I think I'm getting a couple things confused. Yeah, that's right. I drove Grand Mesa, and that's also the year that I stopped to look at the Dos Rios in Gunnison. Same trip. That was going to help my sister Sue, woman at the wheel. That sister, yeah. Woman at the wheel videos. You should watch them if you don't. Help her and her husband do some construction work. And I also was working with her husband too. It was a lot of fun, but the hay fever was killing me. I was taking so many hay fever pills that I was basically a zombie. And part of my job would have been, when I was working with Bill, to socialize with him, keep him awake when we were going from job to job. And I was actually just falling asleep from job. It was fun work, but the hay fever was just a killer. And so I ended up coming back. But I went that year, and I haven't been back here since. That was, wow, I think it was 2017. So 6 years ago. And a lot can change in 6 years. My friend Jackie Pettyjohn, who lived in Oklahoma, he passed away that year. Really sad situation. My dad passed away in 2018. He was in pretty bad shape. It was still, it's always sad to lose people in your life. And then my mom passed away in 2021. So coming on 2 years that she's been gone. And a bunch of people passed away. But what do you do? Life is what life is. And in the past I'd been up here before. Lived in Grand Junction for a while. My girlfriend, she had a son, and we ended up going skiing These guys are going way too fast. I'm gonna let them go on by me. I'm really going way too fast. I don't need to do that. I'm gonna let this guy get around me. This guy's cruising. He's pacing me. I'm just not going. I don't want to go that speed. Not when the speed limit's 45. And this guy's passing him too, so I'm just gonna. They can do all the racing they want. I'm not in the mood to race. So we're probably around 10 or 11,000 feet. We may even be, I think we get up around 12,000 or maybe even higher on this road. Well, we could be there right now for that matter. Certainly a lot of snow here. Yeah. I really don't want to rush through this. This is a special, cool place. And I don't want to get a ticket for absolutely no reason. I don't want to get a ticket for a reason for that matter, but yeah. Notice how the signs are dinged up? That sign right there is bent. These signs are all bent that way. This is a cool view coming up. We're now looking down on Grand Mesa. I was there this morning filming a video there, but that's where we're looking. Very cool. The Colorado Plateau. I think they call it the Roan Plateau also. So we got a good view, a vista of what's going on south. And now we're looking at what's going, at the mountains over to the north. So the Colorado River is in the valley below us, several miles to our north. But that's the river that cut this valley. Anyway, to get back to that idea, if you're from another country and you find yourself in Colorado, I would just rent a vehicle and go, pick certain areas and go check them out. Getting educated on areas to go would be a great thing to do. Otherwise, you probably end up in the tourist trap, What I would say would be a tourist trap is going to a ski town and renting a motel room for a weekend or a few days or whatever, and then hanging out in that ski town. Now that might be fun, but that's going to be a fabricated vacation. And you can have that same vacation anywhere in the world. But it's not the same thing as getting out here and seeing the real roads, the real backcountry, and the really interesting things there are to see here. For that matter, there are a lot of locals that really don't have a good idea of the cool things that are all around them here in Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, Idaho, the western United States. That may not have helped. That probably didn't help either. In fact, I see if I can get rid of that thing. What I can do is I can clean the windshield. So I'll do that real quick. Making a cameo appearance to clean that windshield. Okay. Very neat. I'd like to do this road going from the other direction so you can see the things you're missing. Or see more of the things that you're missing. But really, like I say, if you find yourself in Colorado, rent a car, go to the out-of-the-way places. They're best. You know, I went to, actually, when I came back from that trip that I was telling you about, when I came over here the last time, when I got done in Oklahoma and was coming back, I went down through Texas and southern New Mexico to Carlsbad Caverns because I wanted to see that. I thought that would be a pretty cool thing to see. And it was weird. There were foreign tourists everywhere. Apparently, they fly in to a local airport. They get transported there by a van. They walk down to the bottom or take the elevator. There's an elevator in Carlsbad Caverns now. So they go and see it. They hang out at the gift shop for a little while. They get in the vans and they go back to like their hotel and eventually an airport. They don't really see any. They see that site. But it can certainly be said that it's pretty sanitary. Not in a good way. It's, you know, it seems like it's almost soulless. So, for what it's worth, my opinion on places like that, that's my opinion. The thing about, and Steamboat has done this, they're the local ski area. They all do it, I'm pretty sure, but they've become a summer resort place. And so what you actually get when you go to Steamboat's not as bad as the others. Most of the others are owned by giant multinational corporations. Hell, for that matter, Steamboat might be. Now that's a pretty view. Very nice. I'll pull out here so that you can see this. Yeah, because there's a pull out here. So this is pretty cool. So that's sort of like the northwest edge of Grand Mesa up there. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's kind of at the top there. But I'll go ahead and leave that zoomed, magnified for just a little while. And I'll try to get a nice panoramic shot of this valley. A lot of smoke in it. This is a pretty large valley. We're probably looking at, to get to the other side of that valley, probably 25 miles, 20 to 25 miles. So, yeah, that, I will back the, punch out a little bit. Check the traffic, looking good. So, if you go to Steamboat, you'll probably show up at the airport. Maybe you'll fly into Denver. Maybe you'll fly into Hayden. And it's actually fun to fly into Hayden, but it's also fun to drive from Denver. Really, driving, you're getting out into the world, you know, much better. If you have to take a shuttle, well, you know, so that's so nice, that big plateau over there. Then they'll put you up in a really nice hotel. They'll charge you a huge amount for it. And then you'll get shuttled downtown, unless you rented a car. I mean, you can just drive downtown. Or you can just take the shuttle, whatever. I mean, that's kind of how it's set up. So you can go eat at all the restaurants that are down there. And there are good restaurants there. You can walk the main street of Steamboat. That's a popular thing to do. Walking around. See and be seen, I guess. You can buy some souvenirs. Probably not any really cool copper repoussé plates that were locally made. You probably can't find them in Steamboat because they're too damn cheap. But you can find the $2 version of that, a little sticker that, is basically the same thing. Anyway, yes, but I digress. So you can buy some t-shirts that say Steamboat or whatever. Go back to your hotel, and then unless you take some excursions, some tours out of Steamboat, like for instance to Strawberry Hot Springs, or there might be some dude ranches out in the hills that you could go to for a day. There's not that much more to do. It's not a bad place to hang out, though. I mean, it's definitely a nice, pleasant experience, but it's an extremely manufactured, inorganic, highly processed, like creamy peanut butter kind of experience. If you really want to go out and see real people, the real country, the real back roads, you rent a car and you go. Rent a car, get a map. If you don't have a map, I would get a map, and I would also, on your phone, Google Maps can help a lot. Google Earth is incredibly useful, I think. I have that on my phone also. And go explore. And see little towns, go eat in little restaurants. They're becoming a rarity, but you can occasionally find them. They used to be everywhere, the little mom and pop restaurants. They're really becoming rare. Anyway, I think that kind of a vacation would stick with me a lot better than like for instance, the difference between going to Disney World or going to Yellowstone and going camping, up there for a few days. Yellowstone's somewhat processed because it's a very big, popular park, but if you go to that area, you can still camp. You can get mauled by a bear if you're dumb enough or unlucky enough, or a moose, or an elk. So the horizon, back out that way, that's where Grand Junction is. I think what we saw right under the horizon, that little line, was the top of the Book Cliffs. Oh, the trees are looking nice right now here. Green is coming out. But this would be one of those drives. This would actually be a great place to go camping. I don't really know how many camping areas there are up here. Now we're going to get down into the ski area. So yes, Yes, there is a ski area up here. I'm sad to have to report. But it's kind of a nice one because I mean, the last time that I saw it, it wasn't real slick world class. It was rustic, which I prefer, completely prefer. But you can see there are some pretty fancy houses up here, so the gentrification of this particular spot is occurring. I think it's called Powderhorn. Yeah, Powderhorn. Not going to go look. Not interested in looking at a closed ski area. When I've been skiing up here, it's usually been on well, it's only, let me get the right word. It's only been on cross-country skis, and I've only done it one time. And it was a disaster. My girlfriend wasn't enjoying skiing, and her son was having a hell of a time. He was having a tough time. I'm getting gum right now. A few years ago, up here on the north side, in one of the higher valleys up here on the mesa, there was a long run landslide. It seems to me like, best of my memory, it was like 4 or 5 miles long of a landslide that slid in a relatively narrow width of elevation. You know, it wasn't 2 miles high. It slid a lot longer than you would think it would slide for the quite gentle slope that it came down. But it also killed somebody. I think it was a BLM worker or a forest worker that was up in that area. Well, I mean, people suspected that he was killed. They never found him, or if they did find him or find his body or his truck or whatever, I haven't heard of that. Man, it's pretty here. These bushes are just really pretty. Why would the Rigby's, that sign said Rigby Road, but it also in bigger letters and in a yellow back sign said private road? That's gentrification, in my opinion. When you're so wealthy or so upper crust that you have to name your own driveway. And then once you've named it and called it a road, then you have to put a private sign underneath it so that the vast unwashed won't try to go up Rigby Road to see what's at the end of it. Back in the day, when people had a road like that, they would typically put a sign out, if they didn't want people to come up that road, private drive. But that's not good enough for people now. Now it's got to be, they name it some stupid name. Well, maybe they're the Rigby's. So that's really not a stupid name. It's just a stupid idea. Well, that's better. I believe that Colbrand is right down in the bottom of the valley here. Just a little town. Ooh, another private road. This time it's Lone Eagle Road. Wow. I've got to go see what it is. I don't care if it's private. Lone Eagle, what a name. Did you get the sarcasm? I was actually trying to be sarcastic. Well, maybe I've got this wrong. Maybe it has nothing to do with the people that own the house there. Maybe the developers named it so that it would be that much more exclusive. But they could use it as a selling point. But it would still appeal to that class of people. Kind of a weird class of people that put more value on less important things, I guess. Typically, if you have a house off the road like that, where your driveway intersects the highway, that's your address. It's like somebody lost some ice cream pails. So if they're up, like, this is Highway 65, so Rigby Road and whatever that silly other name was, probably would have just been a number like 1200, 1222 South Highway 65 or North Highway, whatever. Something like that. But if you haven't noticed, around Grand Junction in Mesa County, they use fractions for roads. Oh, that'd be really funny if the Cutting Edge Australia, if that guy watched any of my videos and saw that people were so crazy with fractions that they are making addresses fractions, because that's what that is. Like, where do you live? Oh, I live on 23.5 road. Where was I at today? Well, I had to go down 24 road until I got to something drive, and then I had to go to 10 and an 8th road, 10 and an 8th road or something. So it works. And I guess the thing about having fractions is you can keep dividing. Like, you'll see some addresses that they've used all the whole numbers up, and someone sticks a house in between two houses that are only separated by a number, so that address gets a half. So it becomes fractional at that point. But in Grand Junction, it's a grid system and everything is a fraction, I guess. Well, it can be a whole number, but it's also going to be a fraction. It won't be like 24.2 road. It'll be 24 and a half road, 24 and a tenth road, 22 and an eighth road, something like that. Whoa. These people were selling gas, last chance gas, $6 a gallon. I hope nobody ever stops there. Anybody that's shitty enough to do that deserves very little business. There, that was KE 9/10 road. So yeah, the cutting edge engineering guy, by the way, if you don't know, is a really good machinist, mechanic, really talented when it comes to machinery. And he is always rebuilding parts, big parts for heavy machinery, welding, specialty welding, cutting, filling back in, and doing all kinds of machine work. And he's always, he occasionally makes fun the Beck cutoff. I could be. I think I'm right here, but so he get a kick out of seeing here's a state, here's a town, a county in the United States that uses fractions for addresses. Now they could do that in Australia. I don't know. Yeah, he is an Australian. I've watched his channel for a long time. He does great work. And they do really nice videos. I think it's a husband and wife. Or if it's not, it's a couple. Anyway, it seems like that. And she does the film work and puts the videos together. And he's the main character in the videos. So if you like that kind of stuff, yeah, look out for cutting edge engineering. We are snaking down one of the many canyons that terminate into Beck Canyon. We're following a river that came off of Grand Mesa. There are probably several. I think there are several little canyons that come down into here. So we got about 8 more miles of this canyon. So I have got to treat it as an important part of the Grand Junction or the Grand Mesa Drive. That's a big river where it's running really. If you could see that, it's running. That river is putting the water out. And that's running down into the Colorado also. So everything everything is draining into the Colorado in this neck of the woods. The traffic that's coming at us is very likely the more of the coming home after work in Grand Junction crowd, because we're not far from Grand Junction. I think once we get down onto the interstate, which with this road will drop us down in the bottom of the back canyon on I-70. I don't think that far from Grand Junction, maybe 15, 20 miles. But what a cool canyon. And mesa. I'm actually enjoying this canyon as much as I enjoyed the mesa. How cool is that big overhang? I don't know if you can see that, but there's some interesting rocks up there. One was a giant overhang, and one was just this giant rock shaped like an egg, setting right on like the point. I mean, and you can see around it that it had detached from the rest of the rock. And the thing is probably 60 or 70 feet tall. It's pretty cool. You can't see how tall the canyon is getting, but we're probably about 500 feet. The cliffs over on this side anyway. You might get a better feel looking down canyon a little bit. It's getting pretty damn big. And I'm not sure what that red plant is, but it's pretty. Oh yeah, man, this is cool. Cool. I kind of think that my filming will be done when we get down back onto I-70, because I think I've shot everything that I wanted to shoot. My camera has hung in there like a trooper all day and done very well. My voice is hung in there because I've talked and talked and talked. Being your narrator means I talk a lot, especially if I'm shooting 10 hours of video in one day, which I wouldn't be surprised if I have that much video from today. A good chance that I'll only use a tiny bit of it, though. But who knows? Might end up using the whole damn thing. I think one of the videos I shot, I think in one piece too, was from Meeker all the way to Grand Junction. I think that was in one piece. Maybe, maybe not. I did stop at a rest area. I think I left the camera running though. I stopped at the nicest rest area, one of the nicest actually, rest area in Colorado, which is at the East Rifle exit. I don't think it's called the East Rifle exit, but it could be. It's just the exit on the east side of Rifle. There's also a West Rifle exit, and that takes you to a frontage road, and then you end up driving another like 3 or 4 miles on that frontage road before you get into Rifle. So you miss that really cool rest area. But I really like it. So I filmed that. I saw a truck that looked like it could have been the riding shotgun guy. I think he calls himself Mountain Mike. His pseudonym, right? I doubt it was him. I think that company has several trucks that all look the same, but I thought it was interesting, so I swung the car around and took a shot of that. I have no idea if that guy's ever seen any of my videos, or, you know, I would assume he may have. I know one time he mentioned something about, I don't know if he was talking about other videos, but he was saying, I certainly wouldn't tell other people how to drive. He made that statement. And I was thinking, was he referring to me? Have I told other people how to drive? And I was thinking about that, and maybe so. Maybe he was referring to me. And maybe I was telling people not how to drive, but how I drive. Because I did one video going from Craig to Meeker, just talking about driving in the snow. How I prefer to drive in the snow, how I do it. Look at that. It took me by surprise. So if he did see that video and did make that comment, I don't think he likes me too much. Maybe he thinks I'm too bossy. Kind of like that road we were on, that nagging road. If you ever see that video, it would be the Gunnison River Canyon road. That road was, I mean, it is, I've never seen had a road actually nag me. Stay in my lane. And I'm just like sort of undefined nagging also. Just rumble strips everywhere. And in most places, a warning sign that there's going to be a rumble strip. I'm not savvy to that. I'm not catching that. Oh, wow. I think I can get on. All right, the cool locks. I really like these locks. They're very neat. Oh, little car. There we go. So if you stuck with me to the end of this video, you could be certifiably insane, as am I. Or you could just appreciate this incredibly cool scenery, because it really is incredibly cool scenery. These are the beaver tail tunnels. I think that from above, this rock formation that those tunnels are in resemble a beaver tail. I believe that's the reason it's called that. So I guess I'm going to sign off. And if you're driving somewhere, drive safe. And I'll talk to you later. Take care.